The type of boss you have can make an absolutely huge difference to your experience in a given role. The difference between a bad boss and a good boss is massive. But how can you tell? In today's video, I'm actually going to give you 4 things I have heard hiring managers say in the interview process. And if you hear any of these things said in an interview process, well, you need to run. Now, the following 4 phrases are warning signs. They're warning signs that you do not want to work for this boss. So if they say any of these 4 things, I would take off sprinting. I would do my best impression of Usain Bolt and I would get out of there. The first thing you need to watch out for is a hiring manager who says anything along the lines of, I need some responsible people on my team. My current team is blank, right? So what is happening there? Your potential future manager, shouldn't be by the way, is dragging their current team. They're talking down to the people they currently employ. One of the most powerful books I've ever read is Extreme Ownership. And one of the principles in that book is that a good leader understands that everything is their fault. You know, if something goes wrong in your team, you have to take responsibility for that because you hired the people, you trained the people, and you're the one who makes the decision to retain the people. Those are qualities of a good manager, understanding the responsibility they hold within their organization. So when you have a hiring manager who, one, totally does not get their responsibility in the performance of the people they have chosen for their team, that's a red flag. But it is also a red flag that they are sitting there and they're willing to trash talk them in front of potential new teammates. You do not want a manager like that. Run. The next phrase you need to be on the lookout for is blank are afraid of hard work, right? That is what we like to call generalizing. They are assigning a behavioral characteristic to a whole grouping of people, which is wildly inappropriate in an interview, but it's inappropriate as a leader. They shouldn't have that feeling. You could say millennials are afraid of hard work, which is absolutely not true. Not of everybody, not of the entire group of the population. You don't want to work with a manager who, one, is willing to say something like that in an interview process, willing to talk down on a whole group of people in an interview process, but also has a belief system that they're willing to cast this extremely wide net that's negative over an entire group of people. Trust me, if you got a hiring manager and they're saying things like that in an interview, you do not want to work for that person. Run. Are you willing to work on nights or weekends? This is the type of question someone might ask you in the interview process if they are actively planning to ruin your life. If this is a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 role, and all the way up front in the interview, they are already asking about how they can intrude upon your time where you're not working, that's not the type of boss you want to work for. I personally, I would be horrified if I'm sitting there, I'm entertaining a new opportunity, and they're basically broadcasting that they don't respect boundaries. Now, I'm not saying there aren't times where you might need to put in a little bit extra work depending on what's going on in the business. That is absolutely true. But if they're willing to, in the interview, already start intrude on nights and weekends, and they're using it as a way to screen people out, it is absolutely something that you would experience as an employee. Unless you love the idea of having to work nights and weekends and them encroaching into your free time, you should absolutely run. Now, the last phrase that I would be on the lookout for here in this video, and there are certainly more phrases, but in this video, the last one I want you to look out for is anything along the lines of people want to be paid so much before they ever accomplish anything. This is something that is said when a hiring manager feels like people are asking for too much money, and that nowadays people want a certain amount of compensation before ever achieving a certain amount. Now, I can understand thinking these things to a degree, right? If you're seeing that the market is really aggressive right now, for example, it is May 2022 and the market is very aggressive and people are being paid according to the demand. That might seem a little unsettling to someone who is a hiring manager, and I can absolutely understand thinking that, knowing that a role today is much more highly compensated than it was 2 years ago. However, that's the market. If that's what the market is dictating, that's what the market is dictating. But I can understand the feeling. I can understand being like, wow, that's surprising. But if they're saying this in an interview and they're sharing this, they're broadcasting it, this is a type of hiring manager who is probably going to lowball you in an offer. They're probably going to play it slow when it comes to raises and increases, and they're probably looking to pay you below market rate. And if you care at all about your compensation, then a hiring manager who says this, that is probably going to be a problem long term. So if I was you and you cared about how much you're being paid, which I assume you do, well, I would run. Are you tired of applying and applying and applying, but never landing a job? I know how that can be as a candidate. That's why I made this video. This video right here is going to teach you some easy tricks that are going to increase the likelihood that you don't just get trapped in an ATS, but instead you get the interview, which is the whole reason to apply. So watch this.